Welcome to the Blurred Wire. It is your host, King Whale, and today, I literally had to rush home because today I have to break down the new trailer for Avengers Doomsday. All we got were little teases here and there for the film back when Avatar Fire and Ash was in theaters, which made sense because they kind of wanted to keep whetting our appetite for it. But now, here we are, just weeks before Brand New Day swings into theaters. I'm sorry I said that. I don't even know why that came out of my mouth. But either way, we're so close to Brand New Day coming out. And I personally thought that they were just going to wait to drop the trailer for Avengers during um, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Like after, like it was going to be the trailer playing in the theaters during the movie. And obviously it still will be before the movie. But now we have Avengers Doomsday. And this is like, again, well, you know what? Before I preface it, let's get right into the reaction. We are reacting to Avengers Doomsday right here, right now on the Blurred Wire. Let's do it.
Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision.
Robert Downey Jr. does sound good as Doctor Doom.
I've fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger
Sam and Bucky.
than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one.
Yeah, but versus Shang-Chi was true. Okay.
Everything that they sacrificed will be for nothing if we do not stand together.
It's interesting shot of Loki we saw there.
Put aside your petty squabbles. Presume nothing except this. If you return, you will return as brothers and sisters. But mark my words. We're going to need a miracle.
A miracle.
Hey, pal.
It's not possible.
They're doing it. Let the countdown begin. Okay. So, wow. All right. I've been critical of the multiverse saga in the past, and this is just going to be a short reaction video because I want to do it again with some friends of mine and get a better picture of it. So this will probably just be part one. But I mean, that trailer was cold. I feel like it's going to hit on everything a lot of Marvel fans want to see. And like again, I know the multiverse people have been wondering if Marvel is dead or superheroes dead. All these box office flops from Supergirl to the Marvels to all these things. Very interesting. I mean, 26 million views, and the trailer's been up for a few hours. Like literally, it dropped while I was on lunch today. So Marvel's still a force. It's kind of like if I mean Disney owns Marvel, but it's like at some point you just got to recognize that like yeah no Marvel is just a force that is not can't be stopped. Almost like Doom. Who knows? So I also talk about like the things I noticed in the trailer in this first reaction. Like I said, maybe I'll get to do another reaction video, get some other perspectives on there. Things I thought were interesting. The my favorite thing about this video right now, about this trailer, can we please get back to Thor? To Thor being who Thor is. Because a lot of people liked Ragnarok, and I thought there's a happy medium between the Thor that we got in his first two movies and Ragnarok and like the silly, funny, comedic Thor. There's a version in there that's like a cool a good character, right? And I thought Infinity War towed that line perfectly with his character. We saw his rage, we saw his grief, we saw him being kind of funny still. And even that, I was still like, some of the jokes were a little cringy, but he was determined, he was powerful, he was Infinity War to me is the best portrayal of Thor that we've gotten in the entire multiverse saga. Not in the entire Marvel movies at any point. And then it feels like the Russos undid all of that in Endgame by making him fat, addicted to video games, and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I know he was going through stuff, and he was sad because he lost all of his people. They lost against Thanos, and they really wanted to show his grief. But it's like, and Thor was the one that could have killed him. But I mean, none of the other heroes took it that hard. And Thor's been alive for double everyone else's lifetimes. Yet Thor's the one who turns into a fat. Like, it was for a joke. It was for, like, let's be honest. It was for comedic purposes. And then they did this whole thing where like Thor isn't meant to lead, and here he is leading the Avengers, and like that whole storyline at Endgame. So I thought that was so ridiculous. And it's like, I guess it's the Russos doing the storyline too, which is very interesting because it kind of feels like they're undoing the storyline they had set up. They're like, well, maybe Thor is not supposed to be a leader. And then even throughout the terrible mess of Love and Thunder, all we do is see him lead, even throughout all those stupid jokes and just how terrible of a movie that was. And his speech, his galvanizing people, leading them, like, he is, I feel like this is his role. He, like, Thor is a king. It's just, it's written in the comics, it's written in his blood, it's what he does. And I feel like we're seeing him act like a king even though he's not a king over anything. And so far I love it. I think that's the best part. If they give us a just powerful Thor giving speeches, galvanizing people, almost like a Captain America-esque, like leading them. But the way he's like so far, his portrayal is making me think this might be the best version of Thor that we get. Because if we look at everything he's been in, what movie was his best portrayal in? I'd still argue Ragnarok was too silly compared to Infinity War. I would still say Infinity War was a better portrayal than Ragnarok. So that's my favorite thing about this trailer so far. Second thing, I'm still not gung ho on Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. I think Tony Stark died. I think we should leave him dead. And I think that includes the actor that played him. With that, I will say he sounds dope as frick. And I think the mask might make it easier. Because I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Here's my prediction. I would not be surprised if Doctor Doom does not take off his mask at all in Doomsday. And I think that is my prediction. It's either going to be at the very, very end or in an end credit scene. Especially with the way that Thor was rushing him when you saw that fight and looking into his eyes, which did look pretty dope, by the way. My prediction is we're not going to see Doom remove the mask or reveal what he looks like. We're not actually going to see Robert Downey Jr. for this entire film. And that would actually make me feel better about it because, you know, the Tony Stark, like, I don't want, as soon as he takes off his mask, I know it's just going to be like, Tony Stark, Tony Stark, Tony Stark, Tony Stark. So I think if he keeps it on the entire film, preserve that mystery, let Robert Downey Jr. just like let us just fall in love with his acting, I think that could work. And I kind of think that's what they're going to do. And they're going to let it be all about Doom. It's weird to say it, but basically, by leaving his mask on, you actually keep this movie all about Doom instead of Tony Stark. And that's kind of my prediction. That's my bold prediction, bold take. I thought about it right as I was recording. That's my bold prediction. Doctor Doom is not going to remove his mask for a single moment in Doomsday. Maybe alone, but no, I still think they're just not going to do it. I would be, and I think that would be the right call. I'd be impressed if they did. A couple other things to notice. It's kind of hard to know who's on the Avengers right now because we saw Sam standing there with Torres, and there was Ant-Man, but then you got Bucky standing right there too, and he's on the Thunderbolts. And so it's like, well, who are like we saw more Thunderbolts than we did Avengers. And again, I guess the new Avengers have been kind of more established by the government backing them with Contessa De Fontaine, and Sam's trying to get the Avengers back together, and we don't really know who they are. Clearly, Shang-Chi is going to be a part of them because we got to see an awesome Shang-Chi versus Gambit trailer fight. And that's something that was leaked like years ago. I kind of forgot about it, to be completely honest. And so to see it happening again in real time was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, pretty sweet. I think that's gonna be one of the better fights in the movie. Obviously, there's gonna be like how the Guardians fought the Avengers. There's gonna be a little bit of a clash, and the Thunderbolts and the Avengers are gonna have to come together. Right now on the Avengers roster, I guess if I had to predict who they're saying the Avengers are, Thor isn't going to be one of them continuity wise. I think he's going to bring like the Thunderbolts and the Avengers together, and I think they're going to go with that number of six because right now you've got six Thunderbolts, and they're probably going to do six Avengers to kind of balance them out. And so it's probably going to be, I'm thinking, like, I mean, it's probably going to be Sam, obviously, Falcon, Ant Man, Shang Chi, two more. I don't think She Hulk's going to be in this movie. We'll see if Spider Man is the fifth one. That would make a whole lot of sense. And the question is, where is Brand New Day going to leave Doctor Banner? Is he going to be that last Avenger, or where is that going to leave him? I think Shuri's going to be more aligned with Wakanda. Namor is, and obviously, it looks like Shuri's going to be the one recruiting Wakanda, recruiting Namor when the Fantastic Four visit. So, who that sixth Avenger is will be very interesting to have fleshed out and seen because if I'm thinking back to the recent movies, we don't really, again, I know we don't have an established roster, but where's Captain Marvel right now? I thought it was very interesting that she wasn't in the trailer at all. Is she in this movie? That's a great question. There's a lot of younger heroes, right? Like Cassie Lang. She's obviously not going to be an Avenger. Um, we'll see. I don't think it'll be any of the Defenders because they're pretty set in their, Hell's Kitchen, New York city situation. So right now it looks like Falcon, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, sorry, Captain America, Sam Wilson, Falcon, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man for sure, and then probably Spider-Man. And then we just don't know who that last person is going to be. Is Doctor Strange still in the dark dimension? Like what's going on with him? There's so many threads that we haven't really tied up or seen exactly who's doing what with. So I guess that'll just be something we have to find out for do. Who's the? Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think the sixth Avenger is going to be? If not after those five, because I feel like it's probably going to be Spider Man. So let me know your thoughts on who you think the sixth Avenger is going to be. Um, Trying to think of what else I stood out to me while I was watching the trailer. Um, like you said, bringing those four corners together. It's interesting how quickly Marvel established the Fantastic Four in their own universe and are now bringing. Like it did kind of feel like a crossover, even though we only got one film of them, crossing them over with the Avengers and with X-Men, who've already been established and fleshed out. It is kind of cool how they got Kit Channing Tatum back as Gambit. I don't know. He's probably very happy to be able to do that. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll finally see where this trailer ends up taking us. At the very end, a lot of people are saying that's a cool moment where Chris Evans appears again as Captain America and receives the takes Mjolnir from Thor. Not sure how I'm feeling about that. Not sure how I'm feeling about that. Also, it does kind of feel funny how it's like I feel like the Russo brothers just are retconning all of Love and Thunder. Like Thor is a completely different character from Love and Thunder. And at the end of Love and Thunder, he was using the hammer and she was using Stormbreaker. And now he's just essentially only using Stormbreaker. And he happened to give Mjolnir, like he's only holding it with Steve. So, I mean, to me, what it looks like is like they're trying to fix Thor. And it's like Marvel's had such a hard time deciding what direction they're going to go with him that I think seeing him I like what I see of Thor. Now back to Captain America, Chris Evans, Steve Rogers showing up. There's a lot of theories because obviously our Cap is very old and withered, and I guess the whole point of this movie is it's a direct sequel to Endgame because Steve messing with the timeline is what brings Doom forth, and you just have all these other threads that are coming in from Wakanda Forever, Namor, all these other things coming into play, which I don't think is a terrible like motivation for this movie to take place, but it does kind of feel like what they were going to do is just not working, and so they're just gonna start here. I did hear of some cool cold opens for the movie, like having Doctor Doom wipe out the Council of Kangs just to tie up that storyline, or having Doctor Doom facing Thanos in an abyss and having it open the same way it did in Secret Wars with him ripping out his spine, just to establish that this is the sequel and that I think you could do both. Honestly, I think you could have Doom finds Thanos, kills him. That would be a cool. Nobody would be mad seeing Doom rip out Thanos' spine, right? And that could be him on his way to find the Council of Kangs. And maybe he blames the Council of Kangs for appearing because of Steve Rogers messing with the timeline. Maybe so. We'll see. It would really show that all that time travel has consequences from Endgame, and we're seeing it now in the multiverse saga, which is kind of the perfect segue into it. So anyway, back to Steve as Mjolnir. I don't know if I love Captain America coming back though, because it's very, I agree, it can be very hard to end a character story, especially when you're not sure if it feels like the right time for their story to end. But it did kind of feel like we ended Captain America's story well. And I was ready to just leave him be. Same with Robert Downey Jr. And it feels like the only character whose story we ended was Black Widow's. And it feels like by having Robert Downey Jr. play Doctor Doom, we are not ready to end Tony's story. We still have more. And by just blatantly bringing back Chris Evans, it's Captain America, we're not ending Captain America's story. Now, there is a theory that he's assembling the Dark Avengers, like dark versions of the Avengers, and that this Cap is Stevel, as they call it, like the Hail Hydra version, whose mind got rewritten by the Cosmic Cube, which is a storyline that's not like it would make more sense than just having a random than having Cap just come back, like our Cap specifically, having this one be one of Doom, and it makes sense because Doom is like as powerful as Doom is going to be, right? Like stopping Thor's lightning with one finger. Let's not forget, as of right now, he's alone. I mean, maybe they'll give him like an army or something, but essentially, he is going against the Fantastic Four, the Avengers roster, the X-Men, the Wakandan, and Talokan armies. So like he's got a lot to face. I wouldn't be surprised if he needs a team of his own, right? And it would kind of be cool to have almost like dark mirror versions of all the Avengers fighting of the original six Avengers fighting against them. The question is, what does that mean for the question is what does that mean for this Cap? I always thought, and the fact that he was worthy to wield Mjolnir, because Cap was worthy, and they did it in the comics too, so I can't even be upset about that. But to have Stevel, the Hydra Cap, also be worthy is like I know it's not like the idea to be worthy is not just like you're a good person, right? You can't just be like, oh, well, I'm a good person, so I'm worthy to lift it. Like it's more complicated than that. But it does kind of bring up like a natural question. If you have someone who's like distinctly evil lifted up, like what is the worthiness based on? Like basically, if Steve can lift it up, why couldn't Tony have lifted it up? You know what I mean? Because it's like we all thought that like Tony and War Machine couldn't lift it up because of all the innocent people they might have killed on their way to doing what they do. Like too much blood on your hands. Stuff like that. Even though Thor probably has more blood on his hands than Tony Stark, but innocent blood is kind of the difference. So if Steve can do it, it's like, is it just believing in your cause that much? Like Thor believing in himself makes him worthy, and Steve believing in the cause of Hydra or Doctor Doom's cause in this case makes him worthy. And it's like, what? So Tony Stark didn't believe in his cause enough? Did he just believe it? Like most people would argue when he did the snap, he became worthy. Obviously, it doesn't really matter because he's dead now. But like the question is like, did that make him like did Tony Stark not believe in his cause enough? Because he believed in himself. Like it could be about conviction, and it's hard to measure conviction. And so we'll see. Obviously, though, if this Steve is going to be part of the team, then he's going to need Mjolnir in order to level up Doom's team to face against all these threats. So, trying to think if there's anything else I noticed about the trailer. Oh, last thing I will notice, and I'll need your thoughts on this too. Very interesting that we see Loki, but not our God of Stories Loki. We see the TVA Loki, which I am intrigued by because I assumed somewhere in Secret Wars, I didn't even know if Loki would be in Doomsday, but I assumed that somewhere in Secret Wars we would see Thor visit Yggdrasil and see Loki as the God of Stories. And that's the continuity where we find the Loki from the Loki series. However, maybe I will rewatch the Loki series with my wife. She's been pressing me on it. Guys, you know how amazing my life is? My wife has been pressing me to rewatch the Loki series, and I'm like, we'll get to it. Like just break that in for a second. Sorry. Anyway, backing up. So Loki, he's in his TVA jacket, like when he first was captured and working with them to find the other Loki. And so, like, what continuity timeline, like, how is that working? Because the multiverse broke and then Loki kind of fixed it, but now is it like breaking again, or is this happening before that, or like there's so many questions just from seeing, or is this a different version of Loki but had to be captured by the TVA to be in his TVA jacket, and at what point of the, like, there's so many timeline and multiversal questions from seeing Loki in his form as Loki with the TVA jacket on that we saw him when he was captured. Because I wasn't expecting to see God of Stories Loki in the trailer. Now, again, perhaps that's just a flashback of God of Stories Loki, like explaining something to Thor. But again, I wasn't expecting him to come in Secret Wars. So that's probably the biggest confusing part to me of like, how does that continuity work? So let me know your thoughts on that too. Let me know your thoughts on, first of all, my big prediction. I don't think Doom's going to take his mask off throughout the entire time in Doomsday, which doesn't seem that big. But again, remember, as soon as he takes that off, we're going to be talking about Tony Stark. And I think the Russos are smart enough to know this film has to be about Doctor Doom, not Tony Stark. It has to be about Doctor Doom. We can maybe do a little Tony Stark stuff in Secret Wars, but let's establish Doom. Let's be afraid of Doom and let's not really know who he is. Because there's a lot of people in the audience that maybe don't know rumors, maybe don't know, like they won't even know that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doom, right? And he sounds fantastic. So that's my big prediction. So let me know what you think about that. Also, let me know who you think the sixth Avenger may be, or if they just run five. Because again, pretty sure it's going to be Captain America, Sam Wilson, Falcon, Ant Man, Shang Chi are confirmed to be in the Avengers in the trailer, and then I don't know, Spider Man is probably going to be the last one. But again, is it Wong? Is he more with the Sorcerers? Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel? So many different options that we didn't see in the trailer who are currently kind of off doing different things. So let me know your thoughts on that. Obviously, somehow Monica Rambeau is going to be tied into this with, because she's currently with Beast and Binary. So, but I didn't see a lot of her, and I don't know if Captain Marvel is going to be in this one. They kept it pretty close to the vest if Brie Larson is going to return. So I guess we'll see, and maybe we won't see either of them, which would be interesting because that would mean that the Marvels end credit scene was a different universe. So that'll be very interesting to see. Let me know your thoughts on that. And lastly, how does Loki fit into all of this? What stage are we seeing Loki at, and what does that mean for Doctor Doom and when he's choosing to enact his plan to try and save the universe? Because again, he did say something is coming, and I do like that idea. Like, I couldn't tell at first that it was Doom who was the one saying something is coming, because I thought someone was saying that about Doom, that something was coming. But I like the idea of Doom being so afraid of something that's coming, whether it be the Beyonders or something else, like that he's doing all this because of what's coming. And I do think it is the Beyonders that he's talking about, because that's obviously a big Secret War storyline. So we'll find out all of that and more once this actually comes out. This was supposed to be like a quick 10-15 minute reaction. And I don't know why I thought it was going to be that long, because that's never how it goes with these kind of things. So let me know your thoughts about it. Let me know if you're psyched about it. Cover all those things I just mentioned. And yeah, just keep counting down till Doomsday. Fortunately, I got the football season to keep me busy until then. But also let me know what you're going to do as we wait for Avengers Doomsday to go down to make the time flow by faster, I guess. Thank you again for joining me on the Blurred Wire. And yeah, just drop all those thoughts down below, and I'll catch you next time. Hopefully I'll do another review of it, reaction with some of my other friends, and we'll get some more perspectives in here. Take care, guys. Until next time. Thank you so much for watching The Blurred Wire. I hope you enjoyed the last video. Make sure you check out some of these other ones that you might also end up enjoying. Make sure you drop a like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep the conversation going. And tune in for next time on The Blurred Wire. Thanks again.